Welcome to Exploring Possibilities. I'm your host, Cheryl Sitz. Since 2012, Mario Rosales of Tech Life Balance and I have been airing inspiring, insightful conversations with all kinds of change agents who are raising the vibration on our planet. It's the intention of our show to explore possibilities and shift perspectives in holistic, spiritual ways. You'll hear how various industry experts discover and share their deepest passions to make a bigger difference in the world. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. And do me a favor, please come back and rate the show so that new people can find us. We'll introduce our next guest in just a moment.
Have you ever gone to a social media seminar and you have the online experts telling you, get a blog, get a website, get on social media, all this other stuff? By the time you're done with that seminar, that online expert is very good at frying your brain. And the funny part is, you come back home, you get in front of the computer, and you're lost. Hi, I am Mario with Tech Life Balance. I see this all the time. You spend so much money and still don't know what is going on with your online presence. And you probably don't need all of that. Let me go ahead and translate Geek to English for you and show you what you really need, because you don't need it all. You probably only need a few components. You have a great message out there, and I would like to hear it, and I definitely want to help you put it out there. I am Mario Rosales with TechLifeBalance.net. I produce this podcast because I love distributing messages. Let me help you distribute your message.
Hi, it's your host, Cheryl Sitz. And when I'm not doing this podcast, I really enjoy coaching you on how you can have the life you really want. As creators of our own reality, there's a lot of ways that we can block ourselves, hold ourselves back, or just not get really clear on what it is we want. Once we do that, there is no stopping us. I'd love to help you do that. Get in touch with me at CherylSitz.com. All right, very special guest today. Dr. Samir Osmanagich was born and raised in Sarajevo, Bosnia, where he received degrees in political science, economics, and a PhD in Mayan civilizations. 20 years ago, he immigrated to Houston, where he's a resident author, researcher, and businessman. And in 2005, Dr. Sam, as he's lovingly called, discovered an ancient Bosnian pyramid complex consisting of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, Bosnian Pyramid of Love, and the Bosnian Pyramid of the Dragon, the Temple of Mother Earth, tunnels, an underground labyrinth, and more. He later established Archaeological Park, Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, to pursue excavation and geoarchaeological work. His Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids research project team consists of dozens of full-time employees, consultants, and volunteers from all over the world. I was lucky enough to meet Dr. Sam when he came and presented at the Children of the Law of One meeting in the Woodlands 3 years ago, and I'm so honored to have him with us today. Welcome, Dr. Sam.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a lot going on. I find it really fascinating that I met you here in Texas, where you had moved to, and yet you were able to go to Bosnia, where you were originally born, and have this major discovery. Tell me how that unfolded for you.
Yeah, imagine that. I did my PhD about the Mayan Pyramids.
Yes.
And for the last 25, 26 years since I've been in Houston, Texas, I've been researching pyramids all around the planet. Started with the pyramids in Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, Mexico, and concluding that thousands and thousands of pyramids have been still covered by soil, vegetation, in the jungle, in the forests. Only 5% of the Mayan pyramids have been uncovered. But then I expanded the field of interest to the other countries. Peru, 300 pyramids. Bolivia, pyramids 13,000 feet above the sea level. Of course, the Chinese pyramids, 250 of them in the central province of Shanxi. Pyramids in Indonesia, Gunung Padang, 29,000-year-old pyramid. Cambodia, like Koh Ker Pyramid. Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean, 103 of them. Then we have them on island of Mauritius in Indian Ocean. We have them, of course, in Sudan, 224, in Egypt, 155. We have them on Italian soil, in Spain, Palencia, 3 pyramids. So really, I've concluded after 25 years of my work with the pyramids that the world of the past was the world of pyramids. Now, being in Houston, Texas, of course, Central South America was my aim. But then, not only that I realize that the pyramids are not built in Egypt and Mexico only, like they are telling us in schools, but also that the Egyptian pyramids were actually not built as tombs or pharaohs. Because out of oldest and the biggest Egyptian pyramids, so-called Khufu or Cheops pyramid, you don't have mummy of the pharaoh in the pyramid. Khafre pyramid, the second largest one, no mummy. Myceren, no mummy. Djoser, no mummy. Sneferu pyramid. So not a single proof really who built those pyramids, when, how, and why. No hieroglyphic symbols in the chambers, no tools, no organic materials. And then I was thinking, well, they've been telling us for the last 200 years that Egyptian pyramids were used as tombs for the pharaohs without a single scientific proof. And obviously that was probably the biggest hoax in the history. So everything they tell us about the pyramids and ancient civilizations is wrong. So, 12 years ago, after 20 years of research of pyramids all around the planet, I came back to my home country of Bosnia to visit the local museums. At that time, I was in search for the stone balls, another interesting prehistorical phenomenon. And I came to this little town of Visoko in central Bosnia, and then I saw a huge hill, as they called it, towering the town. The hill had 4 sides. It has triangular faces, corners, the same slope from bottom to the top. And then I took a compass, and compass showed me that the sides had been oriented perfectly to the cardinal points, east, west, north, and south. And based on my experience with the pyramids in Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, China, and other places where they've been completely covered by soil and vegetation, I immediately knew that it was actually the artificial structure. But after thousands of years and work of wind and the rain, pyramids been covered. So in 2005, I started my research as the physical person, as the individual. I got permission to dig, geological core drilling, lab analysis, and everything pointed that it was an artificial structure. I wrote my first book about the pyramid discovery, had a big press conference, and announced to the world that first European and the biggest pyramids in the world have been discovered in central Bosnia.
That's so fascinating. Might I ask you, when you talked about the stories that we've been told that you could tell weren't true anymore because, tomb after tomb, no mummy, what were you discovering was the purpose for all these pyramids if it wasn't what we were told?
Exactly. There is only one mummy discovered in Egypt. It's the mummy of the king Tutankhamun. Well, it was discovered 200 miles to the south from the Giza Plateau in the Valley of Kings. So now we know where the Egyptian pharaohs were buried, not in the pyramids. But the question is, you are right, why would somebody use 5 million tons of blocks and build a huge structure? Obviously, not for one dead body. I mean, the pure logic is telling you, hey, they did something so huge, probably to serve generations and generations of living communities. In our Bosnian Pyramid project, when we started first 5-6 years, we spent proving that we have a huge construction complex because we uncovered about 17 sections on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, proving that 3 to 4 feet below the soil level there were blocks. We've analyzed them; they are concrete blocks. Some people call them geopolymers, some people call them synthetic concrete blocks, and the quality is better than what we can make today. Inside the pyramids are passageways. Below the pyramids we have underground tunnels. We have a location very important because of the energy potent places below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which is the biggest, the largest on the planet, 722 feet, much bigger than the Egyptian one, 475 feet. So below the pyramid, iron plate. Iron is generating electromagnetism. Below the pyramid in Bosnia, 60 feet below, we have underground water stream. Water moves, it releases negative ions. And then 170 feet below, another water stream. So when you have two parallel water flows, in between, electricity is being generated. And then, of course, we have orgone energy, we have natural magnetism. So below the Bosnian pyramids, very potent energy place with the energy sources. And then we realized the next thing is that the builders in Bosnia, they applied the sacred geometry elements. Of course, we know about the number pi, 3.14 in the case of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. We know about the number 1618, number phi, or the golden ratio. But in Bosnia, we have also the layout of three main pyramids, the Sun, Moon, and Dragon. When we connect their tops, the distance between them is about 1.3 miles, and it is equilateral triangle with inner angles at 60 degrees. Equilateral triangle is a perfect geometrical shape and as such part of the sacred geometry. And if you have sacred geometry, you have movement of the energy. And the pyramid itself is the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energy. It simply amplifies existing energy sources. So now more and more stuff are pointing in the direction that pyramid has something to do with the energy. As early as 2007, since we have visits from Dr. Harry Oldfield from England, who invented a special so-called PIP camera with which he can film bioenergy fields which are not visible to the naked human eye. Now, we knew that the natural ambient have those fields horizontal, static, above the cities, above the natural hills. But if you have energy active hills or pyramids or structures like tumulus, so on, those fields are vertical. And above the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we had vertical fields during the last 10 years. Above the Moon Pyramid, the same thing, Dragon, Temple of Mother Earth, Pyramid of Love. So those 5 Bosnian pyramids are all energetically active. So we knew that since 2007. But until 2010, when we started having a series of measurements by the physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, experts in energy phenomena, we were not quite sure what kind of energy phenomena we had. Now, those 3 types of the experts have proven that on the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, in the center, in the radius of 13 feet, there was an electromagnetic field, there was electrical field, there was ultrasound field. Now, when you get out of this radius, 13 feet, no measurements. You go back in, the measurement is there. So our conclusion, energy field does not go left or right, it goes up as the energy beam. So now we knew that not only that we have a huge pyramid construction in Bosnia with the most extensive underground tunnel network, but also we have very intriguing energy phenomena. This energy beam, and we realized that when we measure on the ground, and then 10 feet above, another 10 feet, that this energy was getting stronger and stronger. The same frequency of 28 kilohertz, but the intensity was getting stronger. Now, the engineers could not kind of believe that because they said, well, if the source of the energy is inside the pyramid or below the pyramid, then our physics, our technology works on the principle that if you move away from the source of the energy beam should be getting weaker and weaker. However, everything is upside down in this little country of Bosnia, so the Bosnian pyramids work differently. You move away, energy is getting stronger and stronger. So if we can name our technology Hertzian technology, then this phenomenon let's name non-Hertzian technology, and really in 21st century we do not have such technology with non-Hertzian waves. However, the gentleman who was born just 150 miles to the west from Bosnian Pyramids was experimenting with this type of technology in his lab in Colorado Springs in 1899, and his name was Nikola Tesla. He invented a transformer with which he was able to send energy beams wirelessly from one end of his lab to another one, and he was able to light up the light bulbs. And just before they are going to burn down his lab, because he was becoming a threat to the commercial science, he did the last experiment. He sent the beam to the ionosphere, which reflected, coming back to the Earth, much stronger, non-Hertzian phenomenon, and then he lit up 10,000 homes in Colorado Springs for the first time in our civilizational cycle, proving that clean energy was possible, unlimited quantities of energy was possible, non-Hertzian phenomenon was possible, wireless transportation was possible, and finally the free energy was possible. Have American corporations accepted this discovery? Of course not. 100 years ago, free energy was not a good thing to be invented.
Yeah.
How will J.P. Morgan and his colleagues, billionaires, sell the free energy and make money? So they cut the funds for Tesla, started investing money in inferior and very expensive Edison's technology, building very expensive hydro, thermal, nowadays nuclear power plants, building very expensive transformers, cable lines, losing 20 to 30% in those cables, so they can sell the energy to us, end users, for a lot of money. This is what we call the profit economy. But the time will come and the free energy will be available to all of us. And that will be the first pillar of the free society. And the second pillar will be the free flow of knowledge. Instead, knowledge going only to elites, and based on the monopoly of knowledge, they have monopoly in corporate world, media world, financial world, political world. Knowledge should be coming to all of us. And based on those two pillars, we should have a society of free women and free men. And back to Bosnian Pyramid project, that's exactly what we promote here. We realize that the ancients were so smart, building the most powerful geometrical shape, the shape of the pyramid, and amplifying existing natural energy sources, getting the best frequencies and the most healthiest frequencies. What we have in the US 110 volts, Europe 220 volts, very bad for our brain cells.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones, 0.9 giga, very bad for us. The Wi-Fi, starting with 2.4, 3, and 4 giga, these are frequencies of microwaves. So imagine we are out in the field and we are all cooking ourselves in the microwaves that we have created with our technology. The ancients were smart. They are amplifying existing natural frequencies, the best energy fields for us. You come to Bosnia. Below the Bosnian Pyramids are the network of tunnels. You get inside, no Wi-Fi, no cell phone, no bad cosmic radiations, no underground negative energy from the water flows, no natural radioactivity. You get inside, your body for the first time has no enemies, and your body cells can do their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in the body, to start the regeneration, to start the self-healing process. So now we are coming to second very important purpose of pyramids, the healing. The first one, with that energy beam, which goes to the universe. It goes through our, ionosphere, meaning that it can reach any other planet because the beam is getting stronger and stronger. So, theoretically, you can establish energy bridge with any other cosmic bodies, and then the pyramid becomes very powerful communication device. So, communication device, number one. Healing aspect, number two. The third aspect, we have water in some of those tunnels under the pyramids. We've analyzed the water. First, we did conventional chemical microbiological analysis. It's drinkable, no viruses, no bacteria, which is interesting because this water has been there for 30,000 years. You would expect to be green, full of microbes, but no. Why? Because in those tunnels we have very high concentration of negative ions. Negative ions are very good for our body. They kill viruses and bacteria, they raise the level of oxygen. So, the tunnels, high concentration of negative ions, and the water, because of the negative ions, because of the 28 kilohertz electromagnetism, because of 28 kilohertz ultrasound, which is the levitation frequency. And then the original natural field, 7.83 hertz, the Schumann resonance. So this water has been exposed only to the good energy frequencies. So when we sent our samples to Dr. Masaru Emoto, late Dr. Emoto, 3.5 years ago, we got results back that the molecular structure of the water from the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels is perfect, hexagonal and crystal-like. So, we have healing water. And water is, of course, the most important liquid in our life. You put the seeds in the pyramid or in the tunnels. What happens? The seeds, they grow much quicker, faster, and healthier. So it affects our food. We've been using also instruments from Professor Korotko from University of St. Petersburg. It's called the Biobelt, which measures human aura field, bioenergy field around our body. So we've been measuring on hundreds and hundreds of people who are visiting the underground tunnels in Bosnia before they go to the tunnels and after they come back. Before, we measure several parameters. For example, aura field. If it is continuous, it means, among other things, that you have good aura, you have good immunity. If there is discontinuation, it means that there is a possibility that disease started on physical level. We can clearly see in more than 90% of the cases that energy field is getting much better, much stronger after the visit to the tunnels because you are exposed to the best pyramid energy. The second parameter, chakras. 7 chakras in our physical body. Before entering the tunnels, the chakras are rather small, energy flow is not so good, and they are not in balance. They come back, chakras very strong, good energy flow, and they are becoming balanced. The stress level before entering, of course, in our daily life, we've been exposed to the stress all the time. The stress level high, come back from the tunnels, people are calm, stress level, reduced. And, some other parameters, energy level in the cells and so on. So now we can see that there is a very concrete influence of the pyramid energy on our physical, mental, energy, spiritual body. When it comes to spiritual, the bigger aura we have, meaning we have a better potential to develop our spiritual senses. What are the spiritual senses? Well, they teach us that we have 5 physical and 1 spiritual. 6th sense, which is wrong. We have 5 physical and over 30 spiritual sense. Of course, every physical sense has its own counterpart on spiritual level. And we all have ability to hear more, not only very limited range from 10 hertz to 20 kilohertz, to see more, feel more, and to touch more and so on, but also spiritual senses like seeing other people's aura, telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are spiritual senses. And with the help of the pyramid energy, not only the pyramid, but also megalithic sites like Stonehenge, Avebury Hill, Silbury Hill, the tumuli phenomenon, plus places like Karnak in western France, Anandshog in Sweden, Alesteiner, and some others. So big megalithic sites, they were there to collect and amplify the energies. But the pyramids are really the biggest and the most powerful energy amplifiers on the planet.
Dr. Sam, I'd love to ask you real quick. Yeah. Have you had much pushback from some of this information that you're bringing out? I would think that there would still be, like in Tesla's time, plenty of people that wouldn't want us knowing that these structures can generate energy, magnify energy, help us heal ourselves, grow things better. Have you experienced any conflict from bringing this information forward?
When we started the project back in 2005, 2006, the cultural establishment, first from this country, but also from other European countries, were so opposed to this project. They've been attacking us. They've been writing petitions against our project. First, 23 Bosnian archaeologists, geologists, historians, museum curators, asking the government to stop, not to allow us to dig. Even though we established non-profit, non-government organization for the cultural heritage protection, for the archaeological digging, they wanted to stop us. But when the Bosnian Prime Minister came to the site, when he saw the results of excavation, big, rectangular, concrete blocks, he confirmed, well, this is a man-made concrete. He saw so many hundreds of theories. He said, this is good for Bosnian economy. And then the Bosnian archaeologists, they went to European Archaeological Association. Dr. Anthony Harding, at the time, the president of the association from England, he organized a second petition signed by the leading archaeologists from France and Germany and the UK and the US, again asking the government of Bosnia to stop the project. It was rejected. So, fortunately, we did have some help from the government. But later on, the government, because of all this pressure from cultural establishment, starting kind of to ignore the project, which is fine. As long as they let us work, we have permissions for the long-term excavation and investigation. So I would say by now, 12 years after, we got our spot, we got our space there. They don't touch us no more. So I would say that we go slowly with the results. Of course, we always emphasize that we have, touristic impact. This is good for the country. And indeed, 50,000 tourists come from more than 100 countries to Bosnia every year to visit the Bosnian Pyramids. This little town of Visoko never had any tourists before we got there. So, it's good for local community, it's good for the country, scientifically it's good. But we realize that archaeologists, Egyptologists cannot explain what we have here. That's just too little. We started as an archaeological project. Then we went to do interdisciplinary scientific approach. We have pedology, biology, paleontology, geology, satellite screening, geothermal analysis. And then the third aspect, energy aspect. The experts in energy phenomena. The fourth aspect, effect of energy to spirituality. So that was the fourth aspect, spirituality. And the fifth, self-healing aspect. Last year we did a medical study proving beneficial effects of the pyramid energy. So now we go step by step. We have science involved, but also this is the most open project in the world. Every year we invite professionals and non-professionals alike to come and volunteer with us. June, July, August, September. In the last 7 years only, we have had 2,450 volunteers from 62 countries and from 6 continents. Never such enthusiasm in any archaeological project in the world. And you or I, we cannot just go like that to Egypt or China or Mexico and start digging the pyramids. We have to be politically correct archaeologists. When you submit your project to Egyptian authorities to dig there, not only you tell them what you're going to do, but you need to give them conclusions already before you started digging, because you need to fit to their ideas about the pyramids and 4th dynasty rulers and so on. In our case, it's not like that. We are open for everyone. Anyone really can come. We can give them the samples. They can analyze them. They can dig with us. But we always require one thing. They share results with us so we can share them with the world. And have in mind that the largest pyramid projects, Egypt, China, or Mexico, are the most confidential projects because they are proofs that human history is not written right. They are all older than the end of the last ice age, 12,000 years plus, and they are aware that the history books would have to be changed. They don't want to allow that. Unlike them, in Bosnia, we know that, for example, the Bosnian Pyramids, according to the radiocarbon dating, are 29,200 years plus minus 400 years old. So we go back for 30,000 years in the past. The human history is not the history of evolution, but it is cycle after cycle after cycle. The last one finished 12,000 years ago. Before that one, there was a cycle which finished 18,000, 30,000, 55,000, and 75,000 years back. So this is humanity, and we need to learn about it, and then we need to let people know. So thanks to our project in Bosnia, thanks to, for example, our friend Danny Hildman in Indonesia, 29,000 years old pyramid. Thanks to Dr. Klaus Schmidt, who discovered Göbekli Tepe in eastern Turkey, 12,000 plus years old site. We realize that we simply live in the last cycle of humanity, and before this one, there were several more. And of course, when it comes to pyramids, there is no evolution there also, because the biggest pyramids are at the same time the oldest and the most superior. In China, 250 of them, 20 biggest are the oldest pyramids, built from granite sandstone. Those that came later, mud brick, inferior. In Egypt, the oldest, granite from Aswan and limestone. Later came from mud brick. In Bosnia, again, the oldest, 3,000 years. So the knowledge has been brought to us. So now we don't talk only about the humans, we talk about those who inspired and who brought the knowledge with them. So obviously, because of pyramids, we need to change the history globally and so many individual countries, like Egypt, China, Mexico, Peru, Bosnia, etc.
I'm curious if you have any theories, since you've been working so closely with this, as to how these pyramids were actually assembled, given that we've at least been led to believe that technology to do that did not exist before.
I know one thing. I know that they were not made by 100,000 slaves like they've been trying to convince us in the last 200 years. Ancient Egypt, the one from 4,500 years ago, did not have the technology, skills, knowledge to move 5 million tons, because we don't have it even today to do the same thing. They were built more than 12,000 years ago. How do we know that? Because when they were opened by Ottomans, they found salt and seashells, meaning those pyramids were flooded. The last time in Giza Plateau was flooded was over 12,000 years ago. So they are very, very old. So now we know that somebody, more than 12,000, it can be 18, it can be 35,000, it can be very, very, deep in the past, had technology to do that. They were not built 20 years like they are telling us by the Pharaoh Cheops, but it was probably much, much quicker than that. Because if they were more advanced, and they were, why would they need so many decades to build something like that? So we can see that they were more advanced and that they were smarter because they knew all these energy potent places on the planet. They were using just local materials, sacred geometry, and they were getting exceptional results when it comes to the energy. They built machines to last almost forever. In the case of Bosnia, this energy amplifier has been working for 30,000 years, probably being the oldest perpetual motion machine on the planet.
That's incredible. Have you met with people around how we can begin to use some of this technology now, or do you feel like the answer lies in reconnecting with the pyramids that exist on the planet? How can we extend this to greater good for more people on our planet, in your opinion?
Yes, the two leading countries in the pyramid research at this moment are Bosnia and Russia. In Bosnia, we've proven that we have this self-healing aspect. And you would be surprised how many hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of people come to Bosnia because of the healing aspect. People come with a high blood pressure, they go out, very calm, normal blood pressure. People come with a high glucose in the blood, they go out, its sugar is normalized. People come with the tumors.
Wow.
They go out, tumors shrink to half or 1/3 of the size. People come with very, very serious diseases, and I don't want to advertise that at this point, but I can tell you very beneficial results. So we know that's one case. The second case, water, I mentioned molecular structure. What our Russian friends did, for example, Dr. Alexander Golod, who built 17 pyramids, the biggest one is near Moscow. He has proven that besides the medical and the healing aspects, which really proved our work in Bosnia, there are some others. For example, he put 5 tons of salt, kitchen salt, in the pyramid, and then he distributed it to the nearby prison where there were 6,000 prisoners. And they were using this salt in the breakfast, lunch, dinner. After 3 months, when he went back to the prison, he asked them, are there any changes with the prisoners? They told him, well, these are like brand new prisoners. The violence level was reduced to 0%. I mean, in the prisons, you always have people, playing with the knives and stuff. 0%.
Wow.
Only because of salt. So, obviously, there is a way that pyramid energy affects us as a social organization, individuals. Then what he did, he built a pyramid in the oil field. They were extracting the oil from the earth. The oil they were getting was 30% higher in production, and it was much better quality pyramid. So he also realized, Dr. Golod, that once he aimed this energy beam to the atmosphere, if you have a hole in ozone layer, you can fix that hole. The pyramid energy can be applied literally anywhere because it improves the molecular structure, whether it be humans, animals, plants, objects, production, and so on.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Only us two, Bosnians and Russians, we've been doing that. Why? Because we are the only one in Bosnia who have this interdisciplinary scientific approach. And we are open for everyone. And so many people come and we teach from, we learn from them. We teach them, they teach us.
Yes.
Russians, They've been doing that because there is a lot of private initiative there. Of course, there are many pyramids scattered, throughout the U.S. and Western Europe, and people have good experience in meditation. In India, they've been building modern pyramids. This is the leading nation in the world with a number of modern pyramids, almost 1,000 big pyramids. The biggest one, Hyderabad, 6,000 people can meditate inside the pyramid. The second biggest in Bangalore, 5,000 people can meditate there. I know that because I was there last year, and just this morning, the gentleman who built this pyramid, Grand Master Brahmarshi Patriji, he left Bosnia bringing a group of 130 Indians, and they are very happy to see the oldest pyramids because what they have a modern, new age pyramids. In Russia, our friend Valery Uvarov, he's been building pyramids. In Tomsk right now, he's building a complex. They built 9. They're going to build 4 more this year. The total, it will be 33 of them. And we can also follow not only the healing aspect, because I was in those pyramids as the first foreigner last year, but also effect on the climate. It's middle of Siberia, the winters were very, very cold in Celsius, minus 55. And the last few years, it's minus 10, minus 15, very mild winters. And summers, very pleasant. And I was last August there, For the first time, they started planting the apples, peach, and some other fruit plants, and they never had a chance to do that because of, very harsh, even summers. Mm-hmm. Pyramids can affect anything in a very beneficial way. If you have a network of the pyramids around the planet, it can diminish, the global catastrophes. For example, volcanic eruptions, huge earthquakes. Instead of one huge earthquake, you're going to get a series of the smaller ones. So, at one point in the past, the builders knew that, and they had this protective shield around the planet. So we need to go back and learn from them. We can build the new pyramids, we can activate the old ones. Either way we go, it's a correct way.
This is such interesting stuff. I love it. I want our listeners to know that this is the beginning of an interview that will conclude in our digital magazine. We're going to talk further with Dr. Sam because we want to hear about each of the pyramids, about the labyrinth. There are going to be photographs in the magazine of some of the things that we've been discussing, the auric fields and how they look before and after entering the waters, and what their latest discoveries are. We're going to cover all of that in the magazine. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And we'll also tag back to this interview in that article. Dr. Sam, to conclude this interview, I'd like to ask you, for those that are listening today, if you have a parting thought that you'd like to leave them with about the discoveries and about your work to this point.
Yes, this is a project that will change so many things, history books, but also we're going to affect the rise of global consciousness. This is the most open archaeological project in the world. Everybody is welcome. People as volunteers, visitors, media, researchers, everybody is welcome to Bosnia. So we've been giving this opportunity for everyone to take part. And when I see the volunteers, when they go back to their countries, they can tell their kids or their grandkids 10, 20 years from now, yes, we were there when they needed us. We were part of the project. This is what we discovered, organic material, artifacts, energy phenomena. This is what we measured. So it's a beautiful feeling. Our website is bosnianpyramid.org, bosnianpyramid.org, and everybody can find a lot of information on how to come, apply for the volunteering, what are the news from the pyramid world, what are the latest energy measurements, or simply how to come to Bosnia and join us for one season. So, like I said, everybody is welcome, and it will be a unique experience.
Definitely. And what might volunteers anticipate doing should they sign up to come out and work with you?
Yes. Well, we have like 3 different programs. One of them is 11-day volunteering program. During the weekdays, Monday through Friday, they come, they work, they help us on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, removing the soil and vegetation and exposing more concrete blocks. That's the oldest and the best quality concrete on the planet. They also work in the underground tunnels. Inside we have 2 civilizations, one who built, the other one who closed. those tunnels. So we basically removed the filler material, discovering more tunnels and more chambers. So there's the second. And the third, we have another location with the more tunnels. So it'll be a great experience. But then, people meet other people from different countries. They exchange the ideas, the information, and everybody's so happy. You come to Bosnia, you see that everybody has a big smile on their face. It's open-minded people who are ready to share. This is the new world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time with us today here on this interview.
You're very welcome.
Would you like to be a guest on Exploring Possibilities? Drop me a note at info@journeyofpossibilities.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Exploring Possibilities.